1987. We wrote letters on an IBM typewriter, we sent messages by telefax, and our phone calls were handed by switchboards. At Nordisk Cable and Tråd, the company was close to celebrating its 90th anniversary as Denmark's leading cable manufacturer. Over the next 25 years, NKT would go from being a respected national cable company to an international industrial conglomerate with a turnover of 15 billion kroner in 2011. 25 years ago, NKT was a diversified company covering a wide variety of business activities targeted at the Danish market. Products supplied ranged from power and telecom cables to nails, screws and other metal hardware. NKT had also focused internationally with the establishment of businesses such as Scanpoint, which developed ticketing systems, and Colorlux, a cluster of companies producing illuminated signs. In the late 1980s, NKT acquired Denmark's export flagship Fisker & Nielsen and its prestigious Nilfisk cleaning brand.
Nilfisk, no risk.
And a year later, the electrical materials supplier LK, now Lauritz Knudsen, also came under NKT's wing. Among the people who made these decisions was Christian Kjær, who joined NKT's board of directors in 1987 and became chairman in 1990. With 6,700 employees and a turnover of 4.5 billion kroner following the acquisition of Fisker & Nielsen and LK, NKT became one of Denmark's foremost industrial players. With Christian Kjær as prime mover, NKT's board of directors decided on a change of strategy, one that others have described as both bold and epoch-making. In future focus was to be placed on a small number of large businesses possessing international potential. The rationale behind our decision was the desire to reduce the number of small businesses which NKT had acquired and which had few prospects. We'd then develop the remaining companies and orientate them internationally. In the following years, those companies which represented value for alternative owners were sold. These included NKT's businesses in the telecom cable segment. The sale of NKT Elektronik and NKT Trådværket to American owners generated significant proceeds for NKT Holding. These resources were then used for purposes which included Nilfisk's acquisition of Advanced Machine Company. With this acquisition, Nilfisk became a global leading supplier of cleaning equipment, and Nilfisk Advance today has factories in Mexico, China, South America, Europe and the United States. In 1995, LK was renamed Lexel and merged with Finland's Alstom Group, a supplier of electrical installation materials. And in 1999, a year after NKT had celebrated its centenary, Lexel was sold. The proceeds gave NKT the financial flexibility, among other things, to acquire the cable operations of the German company Feltner & Guillaume. NKT Cables was now headquartered in Cologne and a major player in Central Europe. Also in 1999, part of NKT Cables was made into a separate company, NKT Flexibles, to supply offshore pipe systems for conveying oil, gas, chemicals and water. In 2000, NKT hit the financial headlines in earnest when the company Giga, which employed 100 people, was sold for the astronomical sum of 10 billion kroner. The sale, one of the biggest transactions of its type in Denmark, rewarded NKT's shareholders with a record dividend. But at the same time, NKT was forced to recognize that it was 10 years ahead of its time. A Norwegian-Dutch cable project was scrapped, which meant there was no use for the newly built production facility for submarine cables at the Kalundborg factory in Denmark. This was partly responsible for the massive loss of 860 million kroner recorded on the balance sheet for the year 2000. Developments in 2002 were strongly influenced by the bursting of the IT bubble, and NKT turned its attention towards its established industrial businesses. In Photonics Group, Crystal Fiber and Coherus were merged with 2 foreign acquisitions. The Pryorparken industrial site in Copenhagen, which has been developed by NKT since the late 1950s, was finally divested in 2004. An ambitious expansion strategy meant that capital would in future be put to work rather than tied up in real estate. NKT's head office moved from NKT Allé in Brøndby to rented premises in nearby Viberholms Allé. 2004 also saw the introduction of NKT's new corporate strategy, Upgrade to Next Level, which included significant plans for expansion. As part of this strategy, Nilfisk Advance acquired Denmark's Alto Group, a producer of high-pressure washers, and Italy's Ecologica, a company manufacturing sweeping equipment. The last 10 years have been a period of significant growth for NKT Cables, also internationally. Developments include acquisition of the Kablo Electro Group in the Czech Republic and the establishment of more activities in China and Australia. The most recent event has been the opening of a new factory in Cologne, which produces the company's newest high-voltage cables for both onshore and offshore applications. In 2011, NKT Flexibles was awarded the largest single order in NKT's history, and in February 2012 was sold to the American company National Oilwell Varco for 3.8 billion kroner.
Salget af NKT Flexibles.
The divestment of NKT Flexibles means we've sold to an owner who's both the economic resources and the oil industry know-how to take the company further than NKT could have done. NKT's next move is, of course, a matter for the board of directors to determine. We'll receive a sum of money from the sale, and in the course of the summer we'll discuss what this money will be used for. The NKT conglomerate is built up on the foundation of active ownership. Many companies have been acquired, developed, and divested over the years, but these activities have always been based on a stable underlying structure.
Der er jo egentlig 3 ting, jeg er stolt over.
There are 3 things that I'm especially proud of. First, the fantastic loyalty shown by NKT's employees during thick and thin. Without this loyalty, we would not be where we are today. Secondly, I'm proud that we've been able to recruit our various company CEOs from within our own ranks. And thirdly, I'm proud of our board of directors, with whom I feel I've had a wonderful working relationship. We're very straightforward, and we invariably reach conclusions which we can all agree on. In the course of 25 years, typewriters, fax machines and telephone switchboards have given way to video conferencing, email and mobile phones. NKT has gone from being Danish to international, but the fundamental paradigm remains the same: a successful fusion of technological development and industrial manufacture.